Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, as you can see, the snow is getting a little bit less. Probably a good bulk of it will be gone today, other than some shaded areas. It's kind of crazy. It was about 4 days ago. We were dealing with negative temperatures, brutal cold, and today we're supposed to hit possibly 60, may even hit 70 tomorrow. But that's the Ozarks. If you don't like the weather, stick around because it's going to change soon. A lot of things going on, as you all know. It was announced last night that Dan Bongino is going to be appointed as the deputy FBI director. Kash Patel, who was confirmed as the FBI director, is also going to be the interim ATF director. So that should get interesting. The stuff going on in the disease world is also getting interesting. With RFK Jr. being in charge, he has canceled a lot of programs, seminars, all kinds of stuff, studies and everything involving the pokey poke. I mean, you know, it's kind of interesting now that this has all happened. Are we able to say the word vaccine now on YouTube? I don't know. I have no idea. They don't like me much anyways, but you know, a lot of my listeners don't like me much anyways here lately. But hey, that's what happens when you're telling the truth. But there's a lot of that stuff going on, and I know that it's exciting, and probably the vast majority of you are supportive of that. I think it's a great thing too, but here's the but. I think that it's also presents a vulnerability. Get my mouth working this morning, because it's an area that I could see, and I've said this before, that I could see that the far left could use to, I guess you could say, attack the MAGA Trump administration, because you know all this stuff that's gone on, they're just getting more and more irate. Apparently, I mean that's what I'm hearing, and you know good and well they're not just gonna roll over and be defeated as easily as it's been so far. At some point there's going to be pushback. At some point they're going to try to damage what is being done. And I think that this is a perfect area for it. And I think it's something that we need to be cautious of. It is 2025, and some of you know there's potentially significance in this year when it comes to deaths and disease. I mean, it's still very early on, so I guess we'll have to wait and see if all that turns out to be true or not. But there's a lot of stuff going on when it comes to that. It was just last week, China claims that they have discovered a new coronavirus. No, it's not the old COVID-19, but it's a new one, and it was discovered in bats, and it was discovered at the same Wuhan lab as the last one. And they're saying that this one is ready to go, meaning that it is ready to be transmitted big time in humans, that the receptors are just perfect for it to be another pandemic plague. So there's that. We have measles outbreaks and tuberculosis outbreaks in this country like we haven't seen in decades. Maybe it's because of all the illegals that's been allowed to come across our border. I don't know. But they're having them everywhere. Kansas City, Lawrence, Kansas, several other cities down in Texas are experiencing large, widespread measles outbreaks. And then, like I said, tuberculosis also. This has been a year and a half when it comes to flu. Many people have reported becoming quite ill, more than normal with the flu. And if you look at the charts, it's like we've had, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 big rounds of flu. And then there's all this other just stuff that's going around and people getting sick and coming out now in the news confirming what we've all said all along, that the COVID pokey poke makes people more weak, more sick, all kinds of stuff. There's been just a plethora of stuff come out in the news. And a lot of it is confirmation of stuff that we've said for a long time. But we have to realize that by going through the process that we're wanting to see done, we're wanting to see all the CDC and all the fake foods and all the push for the pokes and the terrorizing people and the weaponizing things. We want that to stop, right? But if we shut all these systems down, then there's a creation of a vulnerability that, well, this new Wuhan thing or this new whatever, bird flu, whatever it is now spreading around, and there's no one at the helm to stop it. I've seen doctors and scientists that were somewhat prominent during the whole COVID-19 thing come out and say things like that we're creating this big vulnerability by terminating all of these employees and by shutting down all of these programs right at the point that we've got a few different diseases out there that could be the next pandemic. And so it's creating kind of, I think, a perfect scenario for people, whoever they are, to come in and try to push and create a very dangerous situation. Now, I know that a lot of you are probably going to say, yeah, they pulled the wool over us once, but they're not going to be able to do it again. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, or fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And some of you are going to say, well, they never fooled me to begin with. I'm in that boat. But that would only pertain to something happening and it not being as real as what they say. What if it is real? What if it is deadly? What if the next one is bad? It's hard to tell, but some of the things that are happening, it's if you look at what's going on right now as comparison to before the whole COVID-19 pandemic, there's a whole lot more going on. I mean, a whole lot more. There's several possibilities. The bird flu, and there's actually a couple of different variants of that. This new one coming out of Wuhan, tuberculosis and measles and Ebola and all of these things that are spreading around worse and worse. And it's like we're waiting for just the next big thing to happen. And with terminating all of these employees at the CDC and the FDA and all these other places and shutting off all of these programs, and that I'm not opposed to. I want to make it clear, I'm not opposed to doing that. But what I'm saying is that in doing so, it's creating a serious vulnerability that could be used by the far left or whoever it is to create a bad situation. And I think that we need to be prepared for that. I think that needs to be something that we need to kind of keep on our radar. It doesn't need to be necessarily the number one thing that we're focused on and that we're obsessing over. But I do think it needs to be something that we keep on our radar so that we kind of stay ahead of the curve. Because, the Trump administration is just getting started. There's several more years of it left still. And so the possibility over the next 12, 18, 24 months or whatever of some type of disease presenting itself as a major pandemic, and that it could actually be really deadly, is very real. Almost like it's catching us off guard, even though that's not actually the case. So I think that we need to be very vigilant when it comes to this. I've talked on YouTube and over on Locals quite extensively of how we need to be taking control and charge of our own health by doing everything that we can to improve our own immune systems against this. There's all kinds of different ways, natural and others, to do that. And I think that we need to be preparing for that because, we all know that at some point there has to be some pushback to all of this, right? You got to admit, whether you like it, love it, or hate it, things have gone quite smoothly. And at some point, there has to be some kind of thing being done to stop it, or to make Trump look bad, or to show the world and say, see, this is what you get when you vote for this. You get diseases everywhere that are uncontrolled, or whatever it is. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's something else. But we all know that at some point, they're going to push back on this. There's going to be something happen. And if there isn't, then it makes me very suspicious that what is going on is part of the overall plan. But this one, I think is definitely a strong possibility. Especially to me, it just seems too easy to not be. You know, with all of the potential diseases now that are spreading around, that are getting bigger. You know, this H5N1 bird flu is the big one. You know, that's the one that they're worried about so much that it's just almost on the verge of being mutated enough so that it can just spread wildly through human population. And they claim that it's going to be very deadly. You know, there has been several cases already of people that's gotten very, very sick with it and even died. So again, with the things that are happening of shutting down and programs, and of cutting employees, staff, and cutting researchers and stuff like that, we have to be ready and prepared for the possibility of something just out of nowhere popping up and becoming very serious, because I could definitely see them doing that. You know, they're not just gonna go away and say, okay, well, you beat us, right? I mean, that's not how things work. So be vigilant, be continually preparing, working on your personal health, and stocking up on the things that you know that you'd probably need if something like one of these things that I speak of happen. Because I think that it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time before it happens, and it may be a lot sooner than you think. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.